Hey ya! Welcome to Goodnight Flagstaff. This is Abigail, very happy to be reading for you all again. Thanks for joining us for this community story time. Remember, you can find a new chapter from one of our favorite family-friendly books at 8 p.m. every weeknight on the Literacy Center's YouTube channel and on Creator Radio, the local online radio station. The previous chapter is replayed on Creator Radio each weeknight at about 7:45, just before the new chapter airs. You can also listen to all previous Goodnight Flagstaff recordings on YouTube. We are currently reading Race to the Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. If you'd like to check it out to read along with us at home, it is available in the Hoopla app with your Coconino County Library card, so check it out today. Please email us if you'd like to join our team of readers and connect with your community through stories. All ages welcome. Our email is goodnightflagstaff@gmail.com. So the last time we read together, Najoni was sucked into a mirror and forced to watch her mother abandon her as a child to go out and fight monsters and fail. Somehow she gets out of the mirror, and then she and Davery face the next mirror together. But when Najoni opens her eyes, Davery is gone. Chapter 35, Worst Case Scenario. Davery? I whirl around wildly, but I don't see him anywhere. I'm alone. I run from mirror to mirror, looking into and banging on the glass, praying one of them will let me back in. Not to the snowy past with my mom, but to wherever Davery went. I can feel my breath getting short and my heart beating too loud in my ears as panic starts to creep in. First Mac, now Davery. I lost them both. I knew I wasn't cut out for this hero business. Why me? I want to wail. Is this what I get for wanting to be someone special? Stuck in the middle of I don't even know where, with all of my friends and family gone? I plop down onto the Rainbow Road and sob. Big, fat tears stream down my face, and I can't stop them. I'm exhausted and starving and dirty, and I feel lonelier than I've ever been. After a while, when all the tears are spent, I look up to see something amazing. A herd of deer is coming my way. No, scratch that. It's just one. A doe, reflected in many mirrors. She cautiously picks her way over, ears flapping. When she's a few feet from me, she stops and stares. She must wonder what kind of creature I am, hunched over and sniffling. "Hello," I say quietly, not wanting to frighten her off. "Are you lost and alone too?" She doesn't move, just considers me curiously with her liquid brown eyes. Then I get it. "Don't tell me. You're one of the holy people, right? Mr. Yazzie did say they were everywhere, and a talking deer is no weirder than a horned toad advisor." But the doe doesn't answer. "Well, go ahead, impart your wisdom, or whatever." The deer turns her head and gazes at the horizon. "You think I should keep going?" I say, filling in the silence. I stand up and wipe off the back of my pants. "Well, you have a point. I've come this far and risked everything to get here. If not for myself, I should do it for Mac and Davery and my dad." The deer paws the ground with one hoof. "And yes, my mom. Maybe her most of all." I touch my chest automatically, wishing my turquoise necklace were there. I look toward the mirror I cracked with my foot. Its surface looks black now. The boiling anger I felt toward my mom before has been replaced with a clawing sorrow. Leaving us wasn't something she'd done on a whim. She had to sacrifice everything to try to keep us safe. She was being selfless, not selfish, and so strong. She wanted me to be strong too. She called me brave, a warrior, just before she went off to save the world. "It's time to show her I am a warrior," I say, turning back to the deer. The doe flicks her tail and bounds away. "Thank you for your advice," I call after her. I'm not sure whether the deer was sent to help me or not, but either way I feel better. I wipe the tears from my face and hoist my backpack onto my shoulders. "I'm going to do this, Mom," I declare, "and I'm going to make you proud." Next stop, the House of the Sun. Chapter 36, The House of the Sun. The Rainbow Road ends at the top of a hill, and on top of that hill, spread out across the horizon, is a massive house. Well, house doesn't quite do the place justice. This is a mansion, maybe a castle, definitely the home of someone important. The mansion/castle was built in a Pueblo style, just like a lot of the houses in Albuquerque. Only this one isn't made out of the adobe mud so popular back home. It was constructed with chunks of turquoise. The blue-green surface glimmers in the pre-dawn light, the tiny veins in the rocks shining like diamonds. The building is at least 3 stories, with tall windows at the top level and a long, flat roof. As I walk up the front path of finely crushed white shells, my footsteps crunching, I hope the sun, or whoever answers the door, is expecting me. To the side of the entrance is a bench carved out of a log, and it's set off from the path by a red velvet rope, the kind you see in movie theaters. Judging from the plastic water bottles and foil sandwich wrappers piled in a nearby trash bin, I'm guessing it's some kind of waiting area, and visitors have used it recently. Above the front door is a neon sign that says, Ya'ate, please take a number and the merciless one will see you shortly. First come, first served. Beside the velvet rope stands a round red ticket dispenser, and a piece of paper flutters at its mouth, the edges of a black digit showing. It seems a little strange to take a number, especially when I don't see anyone else around. But it seems just as strange to simply walk up and knock on the door. Standing at either side of the door are 2 giant bear statues. They are very lifelike, black and shaggy and at least 10 feet tall, with muscled bodies and oversized paws tipped with sharp claws. As I get closer, I swear one of them is staring at me with its dark, beady eyes. And then it turns its head and roars, "Who goes there?" I freeze in my tracks. The bear's fangs glisten, looking extra sharp under the entrance lights. "Be brave," I remind myself, and step forward. "Ya'ate," I say loudly to the sharp-toothed bear. I hope I'm doing this right. "My name is Njoni Begay. My mother's clan is Towering House. My father's clan is Bitter Water. My maternal grandfather's clan is the Mud People clan, and my paternal grandfather's clan is the Crystal Rock People." There, perfect. The other bear, who has a notch in its ear, turns his head to look at me. "Where's your number?" "What?" "You need a number." "Oh." I reach over and pull a ticket from the dispenser, number 4444. I hold it up to the bear and he leans over to look. "What business do you have with the sun?" the bear demands. "I'm here to ask for his help." "Help?" The bear with the piece missing from one ear laughs, a big, belly-shaking chortle. "Everybody comes to Johona for help. What makes your case so special?" "Joe who? You don't even know his name. Johona is his Navajo name." "Oh, I'm sorry," I say, embarrassed. "I'm still learning. But I've come a long way and been through the 4 trials of the Rainbow Road, and I lost my brother and my best friend and my trainer. And if I don't see Johona, I may lose my dad and maybe the whole world. So could you at least let him know I'm here?" "No." "Why not?" I ask, incredulous. "I asked nicely." "And I said no nicely, so we're even." I've been trying to control my anger, really trying, but I can feel it rising again at these very rude bears. "Tell Johana that I face some serious danger to get here, and the least he can do is see me. It says he will." I point to the neon sign above us. "He doesn't have to see anybody," the bear counters. "Read the sign." It points, and as we watch, the letters morph to spell out, "The merciless one doesn't have to see anybody." "You made it do that." "Did not." "Well, maybe I did, but you can't prove it." "Are you kidding me?" I say, exasperated. The words on the sign morph again, and now it reads, "Totally not kidding." I throw my hands up. I don't know what I was expecting when I got here, but this wasn't it. "You can see him," the other bear, the one with the fangs, says, "but you'll have to wait." "I don't really have a lot of time." "Sorry, those are the rules." "I don't care about your rules," I shout, my frustration boiling over just like it did in the sand trial. "I've done everything I was supposed to, and now I demand to see the sun, this minute." I hold up my ticket and very deliberately tear it in half. I let the pieces float to the ground. But then I feel a little guilty about littering and hastily pick them up and drop them into the nearby trash bin. I hurry back to the entrance, plant my hands on my hips, and say, "Now!" The bears lean in to talk to one another, their murmuring voices a low grumble. I can't hear exactly what they're saying, but I catch their words, "highly unusual," and "fierce cub girl," and "not really doing anything anyway," before they turn back to me. "Very well," the bear with the notch says. "I'll ask him if he can see you now." "Ahe," I say, "and tell him I can't wait long. Mr. Charles plans to release the monsters at sunrise." Fangs turns to me. Did you say monsters? Yes. I'm here to ask for the weapon I need to fight them. Spider-Woman sent me. Oh, the bear says, eyes wide. Why didn't you say so? It hurries to push the door open. Right this way, hurry. Time is of the essence. We never keep a hero waiting. Your friend is already here. He arrived a while ago, just in time for supper. We've been expecting you. Expecting me? They sure didn't act like they were expecting me. But I'm more surprised by the other thing they said. Did you say my friend was here? Yes. It reaches around and pushes me through the door with a paw as big as my head. He's in with Johanna A. right now. My steps pick up and my heart races. Did Davery somehow get here before me? The bear rushes me down the halls of the great house. We're almost running now, and while I'm glad that we're hurrying, I barely have time to look around. The inside of Johanna A.'s house is what I would call bright, and by bright, I mean blinding. Every surface is a shining, unblemished white, like my auntie's plastic-covered couch that we're not allowed to sit on. Pictures of the sun cover the walls. Sunrises in the desert, the sun at high noon over a mountain range, sunsets on the beach. One is just a huge photo of the sun, big and glowing and centered in a solid gold frame. He sure must think a lot of himself, I murmur as we fast walk down a long corridor. Well, he is a star, the bear explains. People like to take his picture. And here we are. We've reached a tall wooden door with a carving of the sun in it. Not surprising. The surprise comes when the bear pushes the door open and there, seated at a round table in the middle of the room, is a distinguished-looking Navajo man. And on the tabletop is someone I wasn't sure I'd ever see again. Mr. Yazzie? I exclaim, a huge smile breaking across my face. Is it really you? His white turtleneck tells me it is. The Navajo man turns toward me. He's wearing a traditional yellow velvet shirt over blue jeans, more Navajo jewelry than I have ever seen on one person, and a fancy silver and coral concho belt at his waist. His dark eyes burn with intensity, and I stutter to a stop under that frightening gaze. Who are you, he demands, who dares to enter the house of the sun? I swallow, my mouth suddenly dry, and try to form words, but nothing comes out. I even start my deep breathing exercises, but I'm so nervous I can't get enough air into my lungs. Please, I manage to squeak. I've never met anybody famous before, but I imagine this is 1,000 times more intimidating. It's much scarier than when I got sent to the principal's office for hitting Elora Hufstrader that one time. Johanna A., Mr. Yazzie says hurriedly. This is my ward, the young one I was telling you about. She endured the trials of the Rainbow Road to get here. Johanna A. glares at me. Prove it. What? I blurt. He leans forward and beckons me closer. Somehow I get my feet to move until I'm across the table from him. If you completed the trials, prove it. How? Tell us about each trial and what you learned, child, Mr. Yazzie says encouragingly. Just a little, so Johanna A. can get to know you. And know that you are worthy to stand in my house, he adds with a deep rumble. I clear my throat and to calm my nerves try to think of it like a book report I'm giving in front of the class. I could do this. No way Johanna A. is worse than the mean kids at ICCS, no matter how much he scowls at me. The first trial was the talking rocks. There were these moving rocks that tried to crush us and us. Johanna A. asks. He spreads his hands. And where are the others? I feel a lump in my throat. I lost them on the Rainbow Road. And yet you continued here alone? He asks. He sounds like he doesn't believe me. I nod, not sure I can trust my voice to work. Drink some water, child, Mr. Yazzie says gently, motioning to a glass on the table. I gulp it gratefully, and then Johanna A.'s motions for me to continue. A monster at the Talking Rocks pretended to be Mr. Yazzie, and me? Really? How unusual. The lizard puffs up with pride until the sun shoots him a glare. Yeah, he lured Mac, my brother, inside, and I ran after him as fast as I could, but by the time I caught up, he'd been replaced by the shapeshifter. You ran into the closing rocks, Johanna A. echoes. And what did you do when you encountered the monster? I fought it and it escaped, but the rocks closed before I could catch it and find out what happened to Mac. Despite my vow to be brave, I feel my chin begin to quiver. I failed. That is for Johanna A. to decide, says Mr. Yazzie. The son leans back thinking, but he delivers no verdict. Instead, he asks, "What about the second trial?" I take a deep breath and continue. "That was the field of knives. Davery, he's my best friend, and we were getting cut up by these really sharp reeds, so I said we should cover ourselves with mud to protect our skin. And we made it through." "You didn't consider turning back?" the son asks, with that same skeptical tone in his voice. I knew we had to get through the trial, even if it did mean ruining my favorite jeans. I point to my cut-up pants and smile sheepishly. I'm sorry I don't look more presentable. Mr. Yazzie tisk-tisks, as though he's a little embarrassed on my behalf. But Johanna A. doesn't seem to care about my pants. After a minute, he says, "Tell me of the third trial." It was hard, I admit. It was the prom of thorns, which turned out to be a real prom. A school dance, Mr. Yazzie explains. And everyone was so nice, and there were punch and cookies and a DJ, and a really cute boy asked me to dance. I could have stayed there forever, but if I had, I would have forgotten my family, and I didn't want to do that. So I got us out. The son crosses his arms. You got out. I don't confess that I did it by pulling a fire alarm, but by the suspicious way he's looking at me, it's like he's already guessed. And the fourth trial. I take another drink of water. I went into a mirror and saw a vision of my mother, I say simply. Now, Johanna A. leans so close I can feel his heat against my skin. And what did you learn from your vision, Nishoni? I learned I was wrong about my mom, I whisper. I thought she left us because she just didn't want to have a family anymore. Like maybe she was tired of raising me and my brother. But it turns out she loved us, and she had a good reason for leaving. And what was that? She left to fight her own monsters. She was a monster slayer too. Ah, Johanna A. says. And is that what you are then? A monster slayer? Someone who is willing to face danger to save her family? Someone who thinks on her feet? Someone who never gives up? He waits expectantly for my answer. My first impulse is to deny it, but then I think about all the trials I went through and how they each made me do something brave. Yes, I say, standing up straight. I am a monster slayer, just like my mom. His brown eyes pierce mine. Then we must go about procuring you your weapons. I beam with pride, relief flooding through my body. Mr. Yazzie claps his claws together. Now we're talking. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in, and join us next time for Chapter 37 of Race to the Sun. Good night, Flagstaff.